to them?
So School on Wheels started in 1993 in California with Agnes Stevens, I talked about earlier. And then in 2001, Sally Bentley, who is the founder and executive director of the Indianapolis School on Wheels program, she started it because her brother was living in California. I think he is a movie producer, and he knew that Sally was looking to do something really meaningful. She had a background in social work, and so her brother told her about School on Wheels in California, so Sally flew out there and learned more about the program and started it. School on Wheels in Indianapolis, it services kids just in the Indianapolis community, and they do a lot of program sites in the schools. So they go out and do a lot of after-school tutoring within the schools. Thank you. Did you sign it too, hon?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Do you guys want to look at that and make sure it's correct before she leaves?
That's perfect. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
so much.
Taylor. Let me give you a hug.
Meet you.
Happy holidays, sweetheart.
You too. I hope to see you.
Okay, good. So you're all set with Bridgewater?
Yeah, my guidance counselor sent out my transfer yesterday to them.
Okay.
And then early this week I'm going to go to Massasoit and get the one I took for the college class.
Okay,
And then I'm going to send it to them.
great.
So it's all set.
Good. Excellent.
And also going to finish, I went to my guidance counselor yesterday and I got my other applications, so I'm going to fill those out and send them out in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
So it's all set.
Good luck. Let me know when you're here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you now.
So, so I was talking about the different programs. The Indianapolis School on Wheels program works with kids K through 12th grade, and so does California. And we decided that we would work with the younger students, so we added a preschool program, and we also added a high school plus program to help kids after they graduate. First of all, to help them stay in school, graduate high school, and then go on to college. So we actually have 15 students in college right now. And the other agencies do not, the other two School on Wheels do not provide post-shelter services for families formally. They might do some, here or there, but we have a formal program for our graduated families that we continue to provide services for. So the difference, I think, for School on Wheels of Massachusetts is that we provide really deep, customized wraparound services for our students, and we stay with our students for longer periods of time.
And were there any obstacles that you had to overcome when you were developing Schools on Wheels? Yeah, how did you make it a household name? Because a lot of people know about it now.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say that the first obstacle personally was that to balance the time of family and taking care of yourself and sleeping when you were so passionate about something. I felt like a hamster on the wheel, and I just couldn't do enough because the need was so great. And there's never a period at the end of your day. So it's not like you're going to finish and be done with it like you might be done with a project. And so I had to really learn to be patient and to understand that the most important thing I could do was to help other people learn about School on Wheels and to engage more people in the community because there's strength in numbers. And that for me to also realize that I can't save the world and I can't save these children, and that's really hard because and Agnes really helped me with this. Is because Agnes says is that we are not case managers, we're not social workers, and that it's not our job to do all of those things that the kids need, but our focus has to stay on their education. And so we will do anything that has to do with their education in regards to anywhere from paying for school pictures and yearbooks and prom tickets and those kinds of things, and class field trips and school project materials. But when a kid needs a new coat, then we talk to the case managers about it, because there's other agencies within the communities that provide those services. So it's really to stay focused on our mission. And our mission is to educate children impacted by homelessness by providing one-on-one tutoring and mentoring to help them reach their full academic potential. And Agnes always said, kids have one job to do, and that's to go to school and learn. And that it's our job through School on Wheels is to give them all the resources and caring adults in their life to help them do that job well.
Yeah, I imagine the line must be hard because you must develop such a bond with the students that
Yes.
You don't want to see them struggle in any way with anything else.
Right, exactly. And it's hard. But when we do our tutor trainings, all of our volunteers have to attend a 2.5 hour orientation training. And we go through our policies and procedures, and we talk about you can't give them gifts, you can't give money, you can't give rights, you have to, you have to stay focused on their education. We tutor at 10 program sites right now in 5 different communities. And we're tutoring in 6 shelters. One's in Norwell, one's in New Bedford, one's in Stoughton, and we have 3 in Brockton. And then we also tutor at 3 elementary schools as well. And we do have to keep the boundaries. We tell the tutors is that they really can't ask personal questions. Most of the students, I don't know the background of why they're homeless, and what's led into their lives, for Taylor, she has shared her story because she's on our advisory council, and her father have decided that this is something that they want to do. But it's very important to keep the confidentiality of our students, and so it's even if I go out to the grocery store and I see one of our students, I have to let them approach me first. Is that because I go to the schools, we do part of School on Wheels services is that we provide school advocacy, and we meet with teachers, and we collect report cards. But when I go to a child's school, I don't approach them first, because somebody might say, well, how do you know that person? And now more and more people are learning about School on Wheels is that we service only students impacted by homelessness. So people know that if you're connected or you're a student of School on Wheels, is that that you have experienced homelessness in some way. Some families don't want that to be known, and other families are okay with it. So we really try to protect their privacy.
What are your lasting impressions of your work? How do you feel? Have you accomplished what you've always wanted to, or do you...
Well, there's still so much to do. I'm still so young that there's more to be done. But I have to say that the stories that stick out the most in my mind, first of all, when I started School on Wheels, I had said to my husband is that I want to be on the front row of every student's high school graduation. That was, if I could do that, and to know that that student got through school, graduated, and was going on to something else, whether it was a vocational program or to college, then I had reached my goal. And so last year we had our first college graduate, and that was a very proud moment. And now also, I had told you earlier about a student that we were working with that was living in a single men's shelter at age 18, and the case manager from the shelter called because he needed a ride home from track practice. And there's no other agencies that are going to provide that kind of service. We had never provided that kind of service before, but we started thinking, well, it has to do with school. Also, what's more important for a high school kid than to stay on his track team and stay connected to other students his age, and also for health reasons and his self-esteem. So we knew that that was an important thing, is to help him make sure he stayed on the track team. And the only way to do that was to help get a ride home from track practice back to the shelter. This particular student is unaccompanied, has no parent or guardian support. And shockingly, there's 6,000 students in Massachusetts that are unaccompanied youth between the ages of 16 to 22 that have no parent or guardian in their life to help guide them, support them, give them direction. So School on Wheels becomes the family for these unaccompanied youth, and we certainly have done that for this student who moved out of shelter. We were able to help him find a host family through my church, and then ended up going to Newberry College. He specializes in cheesecakes, and remember how I started School on Wheels? It was all about that pumpkin cheesecake. Well, last November, the student brought a cheesecake to my house and had Thanksgiving dinner with me and my family. And so talk about a lasting impression, is to think that, 7 years ago, reading that article, little did I know that I would have one of our students who's now a junior in college, and by the way, working at a 5-star hotel in Boston at a restaurant.
That's impressive.
Pursuing his dream. Wow. And so it's possible. Anything is possible. And so I've learned that through my students. And what I thought was important before, the fabric on my couch, the color of the pillows that go with the couch, If I think I have a bad day, nothing compared to what our kids and our parents go through every day. And so when I open my garage door to my home, I have a 2-car garage. I'm thinking that our families don't even have a car to get back and forth to the grocery store. I know where I'm going to sleep every night, and I know that I have a safe, warm home, and the families that we work with do not have that.
We've been talking a lot about how there are a lot of high school students in this program, and then in Massachusetts the average age of someone impacted by homelessness is 8 years. Is that the average age in this program, or what do you think?
Yeah, we mainly work with students. We work with kids ages 4 through high school. A lot of kids that are in high school will live with grandparents and will not move into the shelter and then come back and visit the family on the weekend. So they live with a friend or another relative. But most of the students that we tutor are kindergarten through like 4th grade. Although we do have high school students at each of our program sites as well.
How do you think that like a child that is homeless compares to a child that isn't? Like, do you think that there's any like confidence issues or anything like that with a student that is impacted by homelessness?
Yeah. Like I said before, the kids that are experiencing homelessness, students in our classrooms are, they're normal kids. They're kids that care about, certain kinds of clothing. They want to have the best shoes, or they want to, they like certain TV shows or certain music. I mean, they're kids. But the thing is that most of them have by the time that they get to shelter, that they've had experienced and witnessed a lot of trauma in their lives. And so these kids are definitely carrying a heavy burden, and their health issues that, first of all, students that are impacted by homelessness, that they're 4 times as likely to get sick. You're living in a crowded, chaotic environment where it's hard to not be exposed to all the different germs. So they also are not well nourished like the other students that might be, so they might be hungry. They also are twice as likely to repeat a grade. They've missed layers of learning, so they have 4 times the rate of developmental delays. So kids, that are impacted by homelessness is that, also one story I remember going to a parent-teacher meeting with one of our students and the mother, and the teacher said, well, Jason's really lazy. He's got his head down half the time in the classroom. And I said, did you know Jason lives in the same room with his mom and his baby sister, and his sister has bronchitis, has had it almost all winter. And so Jason's not getting much sleep at night because he's up all night because his sister, who's sharing the same room. And the teacher went like, oh, and she says, well, I thought he was like depressed or something because he always wanted to sleep. Well, they're not getting normal sleep. You're first of all, you're living in a house with 14 other people, and there's different arguments maybe going on. You can hear, the walls are thin, you can hear what's going on in the next room over. There's no privacy. So our younger kids seem to deal with the living in a shelter easier than the older kids. The older kids, you can't have people come back to your place to hang out with. If somebody asks you to do a sleepover, they often don't get invited to the birthday parties or other kinds of parties. They can't go to the school events because they don't have the money to pay for them, or they don't have the transportation to get back to them. A lot of times kids that are living in a shelter, you'll see that if they have the same lunch hour, they'll all sit at the same kitchen, at the same lunch table. And they often will be reluctant, the older kids, to get close to their classmates or teachers because they know that it's temporary. So they're not willing to open up and get close because then it's going to hurt when they have to move. So they have a lot on their plate, and the fact that they get up every day and they brush their teeth and they go to school and that they do their work just really amazes me, because I think about how my daughter, who had a very nice life in her own room, in her own bathroom, and really pretty much had whatever she wanted, would complain about going to school and getting up and how hard her life was and how hard school was. And it's just like, and then she became a tutor for School on Wheels, and she wrote her college essay about the student that she tutored.